Hi everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to share with you all of my core makeup brushes that I use each and every time I do my makeup. And wow, I have a lot of brushes because I have been collecting them for a long time, and I do love makeup brushes. I love the Japanese ones, I love the ones from the drugstore, and I of course love a variety of brands. And of course, they have different price ranges. So what I'm gonna do is share with you all the makeup brushes that I use today to put this makeup on, and also give you options for different price ranges, because I do believe some of these makeup brushes, maybe they are already discontinued and you'll need to get a different version. So yeah, I will of course insert some clips so that you can see the brushes in action. Now I have a lot, but I feel like these are the ones that will be sufficient if you're just building your makeup brush collection. So hopefully you'll find this video to be helpful. Anyway, if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Kat. I love to do luxury related videos, handbags, especially there are a couple of handbags at the back. But I also love skincare and makeup, so usually on the weekdays right now I'm doing get ready with me's and beauty content, and then on the weekends I do luxury. So yeah, I hope you subscribe, and for everyone else, let's talk about some makeup brushes. For foundation, I prefer to use synthetic hair brushes. They're easier to clean and they won't damage natural hair brushes. So the ones that I have right now are the ones from IT Cosmetics. These are the Heavenly Luxe Flawless Foundation. I have two. One is a dome shape and one is a flat top kabuki brush. I also have one from Marc Jacobs. So let's talk about the IT Cosmetics ones. Now, this brush, you don't have to get IT Cosmetics. There is another brand called Sigma Beauty. That's where I started off my collection. So I used to have one called the F80 brush. It's exactly the same. It's a flat top kabuki brush. I love this because you can easily buff out your foundation on your skin, so you can go in circular motions, and because it's a flat top, you can sort of like stamp it onto your skin if you need to, like, you know, sink the foundation into your pores. But it's really good at spreading the foundation, and the bristles are super soft. The ones from IT Cosmetics is soft, the ones from Sigma is also really soft. The other version that I have is dome shape. To me, they're actually exactly the same. Between the dome shape and the flat top kabuki, I prefer the flat top kabuki because this flat shape, I find it easier to get around, like the corners of the nose, near the eyes. I just feel like I can just get in there. With the dome shape, I always find that maybe the shorter bristles I can't reach, so then I'm pressing the brush a little bit more. So I do recommend a flat top kabuki brush. Now, this other brush from Marc Jacobs, I really love. It has, you know, it looks like a thumb. See, like your thumb. So it feels like you're pressing your thumb onto your skin, and you can buff it and you can also press at the same time. I find that if you want to use this for, you know, like big portions of concealer, you can also do that. Now, Marc Jacobs, I believe, has discontinued or is discontinuing this brush or his whole brush range. I honestly don't know what happened, but I found one version, another brand called BK Beauty. I saw it on Michelle Wong and I was like, oh my gosh, that is the Marc Jacobs brush. So it's exactly the same shape. It is slanted. It looks like a thumb. From the side, it's fatter. It's got enough like width to it. It's big. And yeah, I really enjoy this shape. It covers a lot of space. So these are the brushes that I use for foundation. For concealer, I use my fingers. I actually don't go in with any brush for concealer. I find that the warmth from the fingers help to spread the product a bit. If I want to, I will go in with one of my brushes to sort of like, you know, tap out the larger areas. I don't have a lot of places that I need to cover up for concealer, so my fingers are my tools. For powder, I like big fluffy brushes. So the one that I'm currently using is the Raffles number 11, and my Chikuhodo, this is I think the MK1 brush. This is really expensive because this is blue squirrel hair. Now, this is goat hair, undyed goat hair, so they're both natural bristle hair. The give on this, can you see? It's really flexible and it's very fluffy, so it kind of like opens up like a bulb. And same for the Raffles one, they are really soft and fluffy. Now, the cheaper alternative that I have found is the blush brush from Real Techniques. It is just as good. I used to have one, then it sort of like got really dirty, so I threw that away. But yeah, they're exactly the same. They're really fluffy, so that you can buff your skin and kind of just tap if you need to. I find that the goat hair ones are better for sort of like buffing a little bit and also just like, tapping the powder on the skin. With the Chiku Hodo one or this blue squirrel hair, I kind of like to dust it on my skin because it just feels so good. This is Luxe, okay? This is so expensive. It feels like the brush is caressing your skin. Such a luxurious, relaxing feeling. So I really love my blue squirrel hair brushes, but because they were so expensive, more affordable versions are actually goat hair, and Raffles makes really good brushes as well. So these are the two that I use for powder. For bronzer, I have two very expensive bronzer brushes, but this is one of the best investments that I've made. Now, I have the Tom Ford version. I love this brush so much. This is the original version where it's still natural hair. The version that he has now is actually made of synthetic hair, so I don't know if they perform the same, but I love this Tom Ford brush. It is big and fluffy, and it can really get enough space and sort of disperse the bronzer to make it very natural. The other brush that I use all the time, in fact, I am planning to get another one of this, is the Sonia G Sculpt One brush. Now, this is a gigantic fan brush. When I first got this, I was thinking, oh my gosh, how am I gonna use this? But this is amazing for bronzer. I can chisel out my jawline, and I can also make it fluffy just like the Tom Ford. The Tom Ford, to make a kind of like sharper contour, is a little bit difficult because you kind of like need to pinch it and make it sharp. But with the Sonia G, you can do both. You can chisel it out, but at the same time you can buff a little bit and disperse the bronzer and make it really fluffy on your skin and just look very natural. And because it's kind of like this fan shape, you can also do it on the jawline to, slim down the jawline and then bring it down your neck and then along the hairline as well. One of the best bronzer brushes ever! I haven't found a cheaper alternative, though I do find that the Real Techniques blush brush, which I also said is good as a powder brush, can do like a bronzer as well because it's quite fluffy and it makes the bronzer look very natural. So yeah, you can also use that as well. For highlighter, I use two types of brushes. One is a fan shape and this setting brush from Real Techniques. Honestly, this is an amazing brush from Real Techniques. I can use this to set powder under my eye, and I can also use this for highlighter. So let's talk about the fan brush first. Now, if you have a highlighter that is very pigmented, like you dip a bit and it's super glowy, I would go for the fan brush because it can fan out the highlighter and make it more soft and not so intense. Because if you love an intense highlighter, this setting brush from Real Techniques will do the job. It is synthetic hair, so you can also use this for cream highlighter and for powder as well. I do find that it's a little large, so I tend to go upwards, like pointing it like a pen on my face and using the tip because it does taper into a sort of like a slimmer part of the brush, and then I just do on the top of the cheekbones, around my, on top of my eyebrow, on my nose. It's an amazing brush, cheap and good and effective, but if you like something that's more fluffy, I would go with a fan brush. One of my favorite makeup products is blush, and therefore I have a lot of blush brushes. Now I've taken out 4 of my favorite. Okay, so let's start with the one that I think you see a lot on all my Get Ready With Me's if you watch it. This is the Wayne Goss number 14 brush. This is a very light and airy brush. Look at that, it's very flexible. It's sort of tight at the ferrule here, and then it fluffs up really wide. I have seen another brush from Jaclyn Hill that is very similar, though it's a little tapered, but also a very long bristle, long hair brushes so that it can be very wispy. Wayne Goss also has the same version, but in undyed goat hair. I love this. If you have pigmented blushes that, you dip a little bit and you get like red cheeks, this is the brush to go for. It is so fluffy and just so wispy. It disperses the blush beautifully. But because it's so fluffy and wispy, sometimes you will get sort of like more location on your face, so it takes up more real estate. Then if that's not what you prefer, I would go with the mini cheek brush from Sonia G. Quite similar to the setting brush, except that it's also, you know, more fluffy. It's tapered and tight at the ferrule, but it opens up like a flower, like a bouquet, you know, so it's really soft, and I actually love this. So this is another brush that I'm planning on getting another one, and because it's smaller and it's also quite soft, you can focus the brush and the blush where you want it. So again, you have a very pigmented blush, you can go in smaller circles and be more focused on where you want to put the blush. Another one that I really love is the Suku blush brush, made famous by Lisa Eldridge. This is Blue Squirrel. Again, very luxurious, high price point, but when you put this on your skin, I like to do this, it feels like a, I don't know, what Lisa Eldridge says, it feels like a kitten paw that's caressing your skin. Seriously, this is amazing. Definitely use this on a pigmented blush because it will not grab a lot of product, but because it's so soft and airy, it will not deposit too much pigment on your skin and make that blush just look very light and like your skin is shining from within. Really beautiful. If you have a blush that's not very pigmented, so you sort of need to pick up a bit more, then this Cheek Pro brush from Sonia G is also really good. It's not as flexible as the Wayne Goss one. It's more dense, there is more bristles, it's packed tightly. This is also really amazing. So if you have a blush that's not so pigmented, this will pick up a bit more and you can put more product on your skin. If I had to choose, it would be a tie between the Sonia G Mini Cheek and the Wayne Goss number 14, or this fluffy one, because both of these give me different kind of blush application. The fluffy one I tend to use more often because I like my blush to be very like large. It just takes up like a whole chunk of my cheek and I just like that look. But if I feel like, you know, making it more concentrated, this is actually not so good for keeping it concentrated because it's just so fluffy, then I would go with my cheek brush because I find that this can also disperse the blush very nicely, but I can also make it concentrated. Finally, for eyeshadow, these are the 4 brushes that I use all the time. So this is the, I would say, the cheaper, more affordable alternative, and then I will show you the more expensive one. So the one that I absolutely love, in fact, I have 3 of the same brushes. They come in a duo, so I have the other duo, which I don't really use much. This is the base shader brush from Real Techniques. An amazing shape. It is sort of like a mini version of the setting brush. Very similar in shape, tapered, and is synthetic, so you can use this for cream or powder. This is amazing for laying powder all over the eyelid. You can also do it for blending, so very workhorse eyeshadow brush. So sometimes I want to pack on, say, maybe a more pigmented or glittery eyeshadow, then I would go in with this sort of flatter brush. Oh man, it's rubbed off, but it's sort of like you know, it's not very flexible. It's just to take the pigment up and place it on top of my eyelid. So I don't use this all the time, but when I need something that can pick up the product and just place it on my lid, this is the one that I go for. And then to blend, I'll get one of the blending brushes from MAC to blend out the corners. So it's sort of like a dome shape again. So, you know, this is one that I have from MAC. This is the 222. I believe they have another one which is maybe 228. I'm not sure of the number, but it's even more fluffy on the top. It's sort of like a mini version of the Wayne Goss blush, but in an eyeshadow shape, and that's to soften out the corners. Sometimes when I put too much eyeshadow, you know, then it kind of like gets dispersed, and this will make it more like an ombre effect. So this is a really good brush to have. I also recommend having a pencil brush because a pencil brush means you can focus the eyeshadow, especially the darker shades like black or dark green or dark blue, on the outer corner. And I also use this brush to blend out my eyeliner. So to kind of smoke out any kind of eye kohl. A pencil brush is really good. So I have alternatives to the Real Techniques brush. These petal shaped brushes, every brand has them. Okay, so MAC has it. This is the 217, one of the most popular. Wayne Goss has it. This is one from also from Wayne Goss. One is I think this is Blue Squirrel, and then this is Goat Hair, and then also Raffles has it. So they're all this kind of petal shaped brushes that just put the eyeshadow on your eyelid. They're great for blending, they're great for, you know, smoothing out and, you know, adding more color on your eyeshadow. So yeah, if you can't find the Real Techniques one, which I honestly think this is good enough, these are also amazing to put eyeshadow on your eye. Then we'll go into placing the color. So if you don't want to use the Real Techniques ones because it might be a bit stiff, the option that I have is 239 from MAC. So it is, again, it's a very tightly packed brush, not very flexible, but great for picking up like glitter, chunkier eyeshadow just to place the color. Not much for blending. You could blend a little bit, but really this is to place the color on your eyelid. Then for blending, I have several options. I do find that I prefer softer blending brushes because it is caressing the skin on your eye. So if I use something that is a bit rough, I actually can feel it. So here's a few options. So the one that I got from Ism, this is the G39. I believe this is synthetic hair because, you know, it's very, very fluffy. It doesn't feel as good as my other brushes, but it gets the job done. It's cheap, it's good, you know, it's sort of like just going around my eyebrow here. That's one. Then I have one from Chikuhodo. This is the GSN9. Again, very, very soft and fluffy at the top. This is undyed goat hair. Soft as well, you know, pretty soft as well. Then I have this version from Tom Ford, the number 13. Also good, very soft, undyed goat hair. I find this packed very tightly. Again, Tom Ford has changed to synthetic hair, so I don't know if the versions that they have now feels the same and function the same. Then I have two more which are Blue Squirrel. Wayne Goss number 04. It's very fluffy. In fact, it's a little bit more tapered. So this one you can actually use to blend out your eyeshadow as well, like really into the crease. Really good because it's more precise. Then I have this one, which is one of my luxe eyeshadow brushes. This is from Hakuhodo. It comes in this beautiful orange lacquered handle. I love this. It is Blue Squirrel, and this feels so soft on the skin. I don't use this very much. I use this, you know, once in a blue moon because it is very, very luxurious, and yeah, I really treasure this brush. It's such a beautiful brush. The pencil brushes, the MAC is actually quite scratchy on the eyes, so I do recommend the one from Sonia G. This is the Pencil Pro. Similar in shape, you know, like a pencil brush, but it's so soft because it's undyed goat hair. The Raffles number 3 is also one of my favorites. It's even smaller, even more like tinier than the Sonia G one. And then I have one more version from Hakuhodo, which is the J533, more pointy, and this I believe is dyed goat hair. Very soft. If you have you know, very sensitive eyes, I would recommend natural hair brushes instead of the, you know, synthetic ones from MAC because it's kind of scratchy. And finally, the brush that I have yet to find an alternative is the Sonia G Face 1 brush. I actually have two of this because it was sold out for the longest time, and when she came back in stock, I grabbed another one. This is one of the best brushes for buffing your skin. So right after I finish all my makeup, like right now, I'll take a finishing powder, either one of this diffuse light from Hourglass or the Galant Meteorites. I will take this. It is a flat top kabuki brush, very similar to foundation, except that this is so soft and fluffy. Take a bit of it on the top, and then I will buff out my skin. So amazing. This sort of melts all your makeup together. This is an amazing brush. She has not come back in stock with this. So the next time she does, I absolutely recommend you guys to rush and get this. You will not regret getting this brush. Now what she has come out with since this brush is the mini version of it. So this is the mini smooth buffer. They are very similar, okay, except that this is smaller, so you can be more focused in smaller areas. Say you put too much blush and it's too pigmented, you can get this and buff out. It can do your whole face as well, except it's smaller, so it takes a bit more time. But if you can get the big version, the mama version, oh my goodness, I cannot live without this brush. In fact, if she gets back in stock, I'm gonna get 3 of it because this is really, really, really good. So those are all the brushes that I actually use every time I put my makeup on. Of course, not every single one. I will use one from each category. And yeah, if you pick one from each category, that will give you a very complete set to do your makeup for a lifetime, right? Until you need to replace the brushes. So yeah, I hope you found that to be very helpful. As much as I can, I'll link alternatives in the description section down below, and I'll also link the brushes that I can find in the description section. So anyway, if you found this video to be helpful, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell as well. Otherwise, everybody please take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!